Hello and welcome to Hockey Talkie. In this episode, I just want to discuss the announcement that came earlier today from the Sedin twins. Henrik and Daniel Sedin, if you haven't heard, will be retiring after the conclusion of this season. For those of you a bit out of the loop, this has kind of been building for the last year or so. Just because this was the last year in both of their contracts. They signed identical contracts back in November of 2013. And with the Vancouver Canucks very much in rebuild mode, there's been questions regarding whether they would stick around or possibly go to another team and try and chase a cup. And not to forget, we actually kind of saw the same situation last offseason with the San Jose Sharks and Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau. We kind of know how that turned out. Patrick Marleau ended up going to the Maple Leafs. Joe Thornton took a one-year contract to stay with the Sharks. So we kind of had some precedent to watch how then this saga would go. Now, earlier this year, Henrik and Daniel co-wrote a Players Tribune article basically stating that they love Vancouver and it's their home and that they would not feel comfortable or wouldn't want to go and play for anyone else and win a cup somewhere else. If they were going to win a cup, it had to be in Vancouver. So then the discussion kind of changed to, well, because the Canucks are in a rebuild mode, does it even make sense for them to keep the Sedin twins? With their ice time and cap hit, would it be better to have those two things spent on younger players who will actually be the future of the Canucks? And then within the last week here, there's been rumblings that they are thinking seriously about retiring, but then fans and management kind of wanted to push them towards making that decision as early as they can. Because there's only 3 games left in the season, they want to send these two players out the right way. And so the Sedins have appeased their fan base and management and have decided to retire after 18 years in the NHL. And quite frankly, 18 years doesn't sound like that's enough. It seems like they've been around longer than that. They were drafted first and second overall in 1999. I've coached kids in high school that were born after that time. For some fans, they've been in the league their entire life. They both have amassed over 1,000 points during their career. Not quite point per game players, but very close. They both have won Olympic gold medal with Sweden. They both have won an Art Ross trophy, and both of them could very likely be first ballot Hall of Famers. So what does this have to do with the Blackhawks? Well, these two players, Henrik and Daniel, were an integral part in the rivalry between the Blackhawks and Canucks during the 2009, 2010, 2011 seasons when these two teams met in the playoffs 3 straight years. There were a lot of players on the Canucks that just could easily hate. Bieksa, Kessler, Burrows, Rafi Torres. And then there were guys like Henrik and Daniel who you hated because not of their dirty play or anything, but because they were really, 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 really good. Like, unbelievably good. They had that twin connection, that chemistry that was just absolutely unreal. So you got people that hated them for being that good, and then you got people that also hated them because they were too soft, which didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, because if you score 1,000 points in your career, I don't care how soft you are, you can be on my team any day of the week. So to wrap this up, as a Blackhawks fan and a hockey fan, I can pretty safely say that the league is very, very much going to miss these two players. Taze and Kane have both been in the league for 10 years, and that seems like forever. Henrik and Daniel have played 18 incredible years, accomplished a lot. The only thing missing, really, was lifting a Stanley Cup over their heads. And you got to imagine if they did, they would have lifted it together as twins would, one hand each on it at the same time. But we'll never know. Thank you so much for the incredible moments in hockey, IQ, and skill, and everything you guys provided for nearly 2 decades. And thank you so much for being a part of a really, really great rivalry between our two teams. That was a lot of fun, except for the Campoli turnover. We won't talk about that. Enjoy your retirement, and good riddance.